ঠিক আছে, না স্টার্ট করি। টেক্সট আছে সামনে। আজকে দুটো কবিতা পড়াবো, যখন কমপ্লিট হবে তখন ছুটি। ফার্স্ট কবিতা হচ্ছে তোমার ইন্ট্রোডাকশন টু সংস অফ ইনোসেন্স, আর সেকেন্ড কবিতা যেটা সেটা হচ্ছে তোমার ওই চিমনি সুইপার, মানে যেটা সংস অফ ইনোসেন্স আর চিমনি সুইপার। এটা হচ্ছে ইন্ট্রোডাকশন পার্ট। আচ্ছা, বুঝতেই পারছো যেটা যে নতুন করে বলার কিছু নেই। আলটিমেটলি উই হ্যাভ কমপ্লিটেড the two poems that are written by William Blake. The first one was, it was The Lamb, and the second one was The Tiger. And also, I have told you something about the songs of innocence and songs of experience. What are the basic resurgences? What are the basic differences between these two? That is the songs of innocence and songs of experience. Now, what happens, that as the title of this particular poem, it is Introduction to Songs of Innocence. So ultimately, you will find that in this particular poem, William Blake is actually referring to a kind of, to some extent, he is describing why he is writing the poems that are considered to be the songs of innocence as a collection. That means what actually happened to him, how everything has got changed in the pattern of his life leading. So everywhere you will find that this particular poem is referring to the basic reason and the causes why such kind of poem has been written. Now, the introduction to the songs of innocence, it actually introduces us to conventional figures of innocence. And at the same time, here you will find that a shepherd with his pipe, because the pastoral setting is being incorporated. As I have already mentioned, that whenever it is the matter with the lamb, or maybe the other poems that are included within this particular title of Songs of Innocence, a collection of Songs of Innocence, everywhere we can find as lamb and the shepherds, or maybe something that can be associated with the shepherd always being incorporated. So therefore, the pastoral setting, the pastoral structure, the pastoral orientation, okay, that means the pasture and the grazing fields and reference to the lambs, everywhere all these things have been incorporated. Say for example, here you will find certainly one particular word, one particular term is being used recurrently, and that is the term pipe. Now what happens, that pipe, this particular term, this particular word is actually referring to the kind of oaten flute, for example. What happens in the rural landscape, in the typical rural perspective, we find that there are some, the flutes that have been made by the pastors, or maybe by the shepherds. These are considered to be the pipes. And just playing on that oaten flute, they actually performed some music, or they actually played some music. So therefore, pipe or piping, in Bengal it is called nol khagra. Okay, and with the help of that, মানে বাঁশের মতো দেখতে একটা স্ট্রাকচার আর কি, এবং সেটা দিয়ে ফ্লুট বানাতো ওরা, ঠিক আছে। এবার জেনারেলি এই পাইপিং এর যে রেফারেন্সটা এখানে আছে at the very beginning, at the very onset of this particular poem, you will find that somehow to identify or to gather a particular rural setting and to refer to the pastoral orientation to this particular poem, William Blake has used this particular term. Now, what happens, as I've mentioned just now, that in this particular poem, you will find a shepherd with his pipe. Here is the child, and obviously the rural setting is at the core. The shepherd song is very appropriately about the lamb, okay? And it is happy, or the kind of music that it actually creates, it is at the happy note, okay? And that's why here you will find that every child may joy to hear. But in addition, it also contains an implicit explanation of the nature of innocence and points to one of the ways in which poetry achieves its end. So therefore, in this particular poem, here you will find the piper, here you will find the shepherd, and at the field of the grazing, that is in the pasture actually, here you will find that somehow they're performing their arts. What happens? Let us read the text, and then gradually we will understand what it actually means. The poem actually begins in this particular way: piping down the valleys wild, piping songs of pleasant glee. On a cloud I saw a child, and he, laughing, said to me. So at the very beginning, at the very onset, you will find somehow that it is pointing out that piping down the valleys wild, piping songs of pleasant glee, on a cloud I saw a child, and he, laughing, said to me. So therefore, you know that who is the speaker of this particular poem. You will probably understand that the speaker of the poem is referring to a shepherd. Okay? And who is the shepherd? You have to consider that William Blake, when he is writing, obviously it is a speaker, it's a poet persona that he is creating. But at the same time, he has to be considered as the shepherd. Why? Because, in the typical formations of parables, different kinds of parables, the parable of the Good Samaritan, the parable of the prodigal son, in most of the parables that we find that are associated with some biblical orientation, always we find somehow that in most of the cases, the shepherd and the pastoral setup and something like that, these are always being associated with something better, something good. Okay, it actually signifies the typical Christian orientation to this particular construct. Because as we, in our last lecture on the lamb actually, we have found somehow there was a particular resurgence to the reference to Jesus Christ, who considered himself as the lamb. So therefore, when you will find somehow the speaker in the particular formation of I, that is first person singular, you will find that he is speaking. So therefore it says piping down the valleys wild. Now there is a particular reference to the wild valley, and piping down, it is actually referring to the playing the flute music. Piping songs of pleasant glee. The term glee refers to the joyousness. Probably you have heard of this particular pleasure and laughter and something joyous, the pleasurable orientation that always being associated with the lamb. So therefore the pleasant glee is oriented in terms of something positive. What happens, as the shepherd is a good shepherd, so ultimately his primary duty is to graze the field and ultimately to take the lambs into the grazing. So therefore, symbolically, it represents that as like a good shepherd, you are also thinking of the betterment of the people. So therefore, piping songs of pleasant glee, why there? What is the reason of this particular form of joyousness? What is the reason of this particular form of pleasant glee? Okay, this glee or joyousness, the merriment, all these are associated in terms of the positive way of looking at life. So therefore, when you will find the shepherd has been incorporated, when you will find that the speaker is nothing but or none but the shepherd, so therefore, the pleasant glee is actually referring to the activity that the shepherd was engaged in. Now what happens, here it has been pointed out that on a cloud I saw a child. So ultimately, it is not possible, literally, because if you think in terms of realistically, So ultimately, you will find that somehow it is not possible that a child was just, sitting on a cloud and then from here he's laughing at me. So it is not possible. So therefore, you have to consider that it is not something, the realistic orientation is not being associated. Therefore, you can identify that somehow as the other poems of Songs of Innocence is always associating the God or Son of God into this particular poem. So the particular child who has been referred here, it is none but the Son of God, that is Jesus Christ probably. So that is the typical Christian scriptural association or Christian spiritual association that William Blake always, adds to the other poems of Songs of Innocence. He says, therefore, piping down the valleys wild, piping songs of pleasant glee, on a cloud I saw a child. So ultimately you can identify that the child is actually referring to the Son of God, therefore, and he laughing said to me. What does he say? He says, pipe a song about a lamb. So ultimately, whenever pipe a song about a lamb. So now the question certainly arises that why the child is stating that pipe a song about a lamb. As we have already traced that who is this particular lamb. Lamb is the meek and tender and innocent kind of a creature, and always we can associate the typical formation of innocence with the lamb, and always we have also found that somehow that the lamb has to be associated with the Christ also. So in terms of innocence, in terms of Christianity, in terms of the scriptural resources, in terms of Jesus Christ, and also in terms of Christianity. So everywhere you will find that lamb has to be located. So when the child says that pipe a song about a lamb, now at the first term we will find that that actually indicates that you must write, the song in the pastoral setup. It in literal perspective, we find it is referring to writing poetry. Okay, as we are reading some pastoral poems. So therefore, you will find that a person has to be treated as a shepherd. Your activity has to be associated with the grazing of the field. Okay, and then your song, with the help of the pipe, it is indicating that write the poems with the help of some pen. So that's why when it says that pipe a song about a lamb, that actually indicates that write a poem on innocence. So ultimately, you can identify that when it is being stated that pipe a song about a lamb, it is actually referring to the particular form that try to write songs, try to write poems about innocence. And we are reading the introduction to Songs of Innocence. So therefore, what actually happened, what actually provoked William Blake to write poems on innocence, here you will find the reasons. Okay, so pipe a song about a lamb. So I piped with merry cheer. Piper, pipe that song again. So I piped, he wept to hear. So ultimately, in the particular orientation of a nursery rhyme, you will find that somehow it is indicating that why the poet, why the speaker of the poem repeatedly engaged himself in writing songs of innocence. So therefore it says that pipe a song about a lamb. So I piped with merry cheer. Okay, and then Piper piped that song again. Again it has been stated that please repeat that particular song. So I piped and he wept to hear. That means whenever it has been written, whenever he read that, ultimately it begins to weep, or he begins to weep. Why? Because it becomes something, very much full of innocence, and ultimately it actually attaches, or it actually reaches your mind, reaches your feeling, reaches your temperament. And that's why, being sensitive, he begins to weep. And then it says, drop thy pipe, thy happy pipe, sing thy songs of happy cheer. So ultimately it has been pointed out that drop thy pipe, thy happy pipe. That means don't try to sing with the help of the pipe anymore, but now, without creating that particular music, just begin to sing your songs. So that is the basic orientation. Don't try to instruct others, okay, with the help of the musical accompaniment. Try to sing. In place of creating music, try to sing, because the song has its own attachments. The song can reach or directly reach the heart. So therefore, sing thy songs of happy cheer. So I sang the same again. So in the previous form, we have found that there was a particular reference to, the playing the music and playing the song in terms of the pipe. And now he begins to sing. So therefore, it has been stated, so I sang the same again, while he wept with joy to hear. So ultimately, you can find it is a kind of a creation. It is a kind of an association that have been made between the creator and maybe the person who is actually listening to this particular song. And if it has been associated, it has been considered that a poet is writing about the songs of innocence. A poet is creating, the scriptures or the religious, writing, okay, ecclesiastical writing on the basis of the poems or with the help of the poems. Then certainly you will find that for whom the poems have been written, okay, that very person, that very spirit, it actually creates a kind of a communion with the thing that you are creating and the person to whom you are addressing your poems. So therefore, it has been stated here, you can identify that each and every moment, a kind of a direct association, a kind of a direct, connection has been created on the basis of these kinds of songs. It says, therefore, drop thy pipe, thy happy pipe, sing thy songs, okay, of happy cheer. So drop thy pipe, thy happy pipe, sing thy songs of happy cheer. So I sang the same again, while he wept with joy to hear. The same thing actually happened, you see. Then in the next two stanzas, he is making it clear. He says, Piper, sit thee down and write in a book that all may read. So ultimately, you have made your association, you have made your contribution to the poems, to the songs, so that I can hear, so that the God can hear. And now you have to consider something in terms of the people in general. Try to sit thee down and write all these songs, all these poems in a particular book so that all may read this. Okay? So that's why it was a kind of an instruction that have been provided by God, that have been provided by the child, that have been provided by the Son of God. So therefore, ultimately here it has been pointed out that somehow the poet or William Blake, he begins to write the songs of innocence. He begins to collect the poems that are written in this particular fashion under a particular collection title, and so that the people, the readers, might read them, and after reading them, so that they will be influenced by the basic kind of temperament that actually leads the poet to write these kinds of poems. And he is deliberately stating this, that somehow I am doing all these. Why? Just because I was very much associated with the feeling of spiritualism. Just because I have been instructed to do so. So that the people will get influenced, okay, by reading these poems, so that they can enter into the field of spiritualism. So that was the sole reason that he is pointing out here. Here he says, Piper, sit thee down and write in a book that all may read. So he vanished from my sight, and I plucked a hollow reed. So I plucked a hollow reed. Now, this hollow reed is a kind of, the reed, okay. Probably you have seen, সরস্বতী পুজো যখন হয় তখন যে জিনিসটা দিয়ে খাগের কলম বলে না, সেই ধরনের একটা জিনিস আর কি, যেটার মাধ্যমে লেখা সম্ভব। চুবিয়ে চুবিয়ে লেখে তোমরা জানো নিশ্চয়ই। So যেহেতু আমরা একটা pastoral poem পড়ছি, that's why you will find that the associations that have been incorporated here, these are directly or indirectly associated with the patterns of pastoralism. So that's why the pipe, that's why the hollow reed, that's why the shepherd, That's why the kind of a song that had been associated with the shepherd itself. So everywhere the pastoralism or the pastoral setting has been incorporated. So whenever the poet speaker got the kind of an instruction from above that whatever you have sung, whatever you have created, now it is the time to create for the people so that the people may read them, so that the people got influenced or get influenced by reading them. And ultimately, the kind of feeling, the kind of temperament, the kind of emotion, the kind of association that is present within you may be present in others also. So that's why it says that after providing that particular kind of an instruction, after providing that particular kind of, the information, he vanished from my sight. And I therefore plucked a hollow reed. And out of that reed, I made a rural pen. Again, the reference to a pen. And you will probably find that the pen has been considered as rural pen. Why it is considered as the rural pen? Because with the help of that pen, I can write something. And it has been associated with pastoral perspectives. So therefore, it is the rural pen. And I stained the water clear. And I wrote my happy songs. Stained the water clear. The clear water that was beside me, I stained it. That means, it has been made colorful with the help of some flowers or with the help of something, that have been associated with the nature itself. So the natural color has been imposed on it, and therefore it has been stained. And with the help of that particular color, with the help of that particular rural pen, I begin to write my happy songs. And these are the songs that are included in this particular Songs of Innocence. And I know very well that these are the poems, these are the writings that I have written for the people in general, and ultimately the child in particular, or children in particular. So I know that whenever a child will read these poems, certainly they will find some joy in that particular poem. In each and every kind of lines, you will find certainly a particular formation of joy is always in there. So it is possible, that the particular pastoral setting of the poem is clearly indicated here, that I stained the water clear. Now it is possible to find an ambiguity in this particular line. That means, I stained the water clear. The clear water is stained, or the stained water is made clear. What it says, I stained the water clear. Literally, it signifies that it was a clear water and I am staining them. But ultimately, you will find that the simple diction, rhythm, and manner of the narrative of the poem, it discourages us to read the simple lyric with such ambiguity, the kind of ambiguity that it actually creates. Yet the impression left on the reader is still of how near the ink and the water together, or how nearly they are one. The staining is a fact in the poem, but it is the water's clarity that is actually stressed. So why, however, does the poet say thou water? Since this is not quite idiomatic unless there is a reference to some particular water in the poem. It was for the first time that he is writing the term water, and then he says thou water. So is it something particular that he is pointing out? Okay, so there is nothing actually explicit, you see, but there are the children's tears. So these are, if it's possible, the singer's ink and the child's tear of joy are one. Okay, we are still not to think that the ink is made directly from the rain, since the poet, plucked a hollow reed, therefore, for his poem. There is a stream also in the landscape of the poem. But, the stream doesn't enter the poem by inference merely, but just as there is, both a metaphorical, or perhaps one should say spiritual sense in which the child on the cloud is of a heavenly presence, therefore. So what I'm trying to suggest here in this particular reference, in this particular poem, that when William Blake is stating there, the reference to the water, it may also suggest the tear drops that have been shed by the child, and ultimately it can also be associated that whenever he is writing this particular poem, he's taking those teardrops in the form of the water that he has stained, and now he begins to write his poems. Another particular reference can be that, and there is a particular poem by Philip Sidney, Loving in Truth. So what happens, that in that particular poem, Philip Sidney, at the very end, there was a particular line there. The muse says, "Look in thy heart and write." So ultimately, whenever a poet tries to write something according to Philip Sidney or Sidneyan, perspective, it has been always stated that you have to dip your nib in your blood and then write. So I don't know whether this particular indication that I stained the water clear and wrote my happy songs, is it referring to that it is indicating towards the kind of blood that is flowing within me? That means it is something inherent within me. So at one point, the water may be referring to the teardrops. At one point, it is maybe associated in terms of nature, okay? And by straining them, it begins to write something in terms of the nature, in terms of the pastoral setting and so. At another time, it can be associated in terms of the blood that is flowing within him and being mixed with the water that is nature, and ultimately he begins to write. So everywhere you will find that the innocence, there is something, flowing there. Somehow the particular orientation has always been provided where the color, where the water that have been pointed out here, these are associated in terms of everything. But ultimately the fundamental focus, as you know, of this particular poem, it is indicating somehow that the poem or the poems have been written by William Blake, by the speaker of this particular poem, so that the people may read them and ultimately get influenced by them, so that they can feel the basic emotion that the poems are actually prefiguring, and at the same time they could be influenced by these poems, and they could feel the urgency, they could feel the basic essence with which the poet actually wrote these poems. So fundamentally, that was the introduction to the Songs of Innocence, and here you will find, you have found actually, that what are the basic reasons, what are the main causes, what actually persuaded the poet into writing this particular collection. So that is the fundamental poem here. Have you understood? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. মনস্বিতা দেরি কেন আজকে?
স্যার নেট ছিল না স্যার, ওই জন্যই তো সমস্যা। নেট আসার পর দেখছি আপনি লিংক দিয়ে দিয়েছেন, না হলে আমি ঠিক টাইমে জয়েন হয়ে যেতাম।
আর বাকিদের কি হয়েছিল যারা পরে এলে? শিবম, ইশরাত?
স্যার গুগল মিট অ্যাপটা আনইনস্টল হয়ে গেছিল।
তোমাদের মাঝে মাঝে আনইনস্টল হয়ে যাচ্ছে কেন?
জানি না স্যার, হঠাৎ করে আনইনস্টল হয়ে গেছিল, আবার ইনস্টল করে তারপর জয়েন হলাম।
তোমার ফোন থেকে রাতারাতি আনইনস্টল হয়ে যাচ্ছে, দুর্দান্ত ব্যাপার একটা।
স্যার বলছি এই রেকর্ডিংটা দেবেন স্যার, আমি কিছুই তো বুঝতে পারলাম না।
বুঝলাম, তোমাদের বাকিদের কি খবর আমি এখনো বুঝতে পারছি না সিরিয়াসলি।
স্যার আমাদের আগের দিনের রেকর্ডিংটাও পাঠাবেন।
সে তো দিতেই হবে, বুঝতে পারছি সব। না বাকিরা কোথায় আজকে? আমাদের ইয়েরা ওই কি জানো, সহেলি কই? অন্তরা, সহেলির খবর আছে কোনো?
স্যার জানি না ও কেন জয়েন করেনি, বোধহয় ও জানতো না যে আজকে আপনি ক্লাস নেবেন। আসলে আপনি তো প্রতিদিন রাত্রেবেলায় জানিয়ে দেন যে ক্লাস নেবেন, ওই জন্য।
না শোনো, আমি যদি না নিই তাহলে অবশ্যই জানাবো, কিন্তু নিলে সবসময় জানাবো এরকম কোনো ব্যাপার নেই।
ও স্যার, ওই জন্যই ও হয়তো বোধহয় জানে না।
তোমাদের এই দিনটা শিডিউল টাইম আছে পড়ার জন্য, এবং সেক্ষেত্রে যদি না নিই আমি তাহলে জানাবো। এবার প্রত্যেকদিন এমন হতেই পারে হয়তো কোনোদিন আমি জানাতে পারলাম না, তার মানে নেবো না তা নয় কিন্তু। এবং তোমরা একদম শিডিউল টাইমেই ওয়েট করবে লিংকের জন্য।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, আজকে নেটের প্রবলেম ছিল বলে স্যার, না হলে জয়েন হয়ে যেতাম।
বুঝলাম। না আমি দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে বাকিরা সিন পর্যন্ত করেনি মেসেজগুলো। এখনো 20 জন আছে যারা এখনো সিন করেনি। ঠিক আছে, আচ্ছা এর থেকে কোনো কোশ্চেন থাকলে বলো। বোধিসত্ত্ব এনি কোয়ারিজ?
না স্যার, ইজি পয়েন্ট।
ইজি তো, ব্লেকের পয়েন্ট গুলো তো ইজি সব। তোমাদের ব্লেকটা কমপ্লিট করার পর আমি একটা টাফ পোয়েম ধরবো, হ্যাঁ, সেটা নন ডিটেল পোয়েমটা, মানে যেটা তিনটা নেবে, ঠিক আছে? ওটা একটু পড়াতে হবে, কারণ ওটা না হলে বুঝতে পারবে না কিছু। তোমাদের নভেল গুলো কি খবর?
প্রায় হয়ে এসছে স্যার।
কি কি পড়লে এখন অব্দি?
ফ্র্যাঙ্কেনস্টাইন পড়েছি, আর ওই আপনি দেখেছেন নিশ্চয়ই ফ্র্যাঙ্কেনস্টাইনের কাম্বার ব্যাচের একটা ইয়ে আছে না, থিয়েটার শো আছে না, ওইটা দেখেছি। আর হলো জেন আয়ার পড়েছি, আর 2011 যে নেটফ্লিক্স ভার্সনটা জেন আয়ার ওইটা দেখেছি। আর ওইদিকে হার্ড টাইমসটা শুরু করেছি, আর এই 7-8টা চ্যাপ্টার বাকি আছে।
কোনটা ভালো লাগলো সব থেকে?
জেন আয়ার দারুণ, লেখাটাও দারুণ।
তিনটের মধ্যে ভালো লেগেছে কোনটা?
জেন আয়ার
জেন আয়ার।
লেখাটাও খুব ভালো।
হ্যাঁ, নেটফ্লিক্সে কোন ভার্সনটা বললো ওটা আমি দেখিনি, কোনটা বলছো?
2011 যেটা জেনার 2000 একদম মানে টেক্সট টু ইয়ে আছে, এক্সাক্ট যা আছে তাই আছে, একদম সিন ওয়াইজই আছে দেখলাম।
ওকে, ওটা কি ইয়ে সিনেমা তো ওটা নাকি নাকি
হ্যাঁ সিনেমা সিনেমা 2 ঘন্টা 20 মিনিট মতো।
কে করছে রোলটা ওটা? চেনা কেউ?
নামটা বলি।
অচেনা কেউ?
হ্যাঁ 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 চেনা চেনা, দারুণ।
নেটফ্লিক্স ভার্সন, নেটফ্লিক্সটা মানে ডাউনলোড করতে দিচ্ছে তাই না?
আমি তো ইয়ে থেকে দেখেছি,
টরেন্ট?
ওই মাইকেল ফ্যাসবেন্ডার আছে
না
তার
তুমি
গানটা
কি থেকে
ওই।
দেখেছো? টরেন্ট থেকে?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ টরন্টো।
তোমাকে তাহলে ওটাকে আপলোড করে দিও না এতে, ড্রাইভে।
ঠিক আছে। হুম হুম।
ড্রাইভে
আপনি ইয়ে দেখেছেন তো, ইনগ্লোরিয়াস বাস্টার্ড দেখেছেন তো?
না দেখিনি।
ও আচ্ছা, ওই ইনগ্লোরিয়াস বাস্টার্ডে ছিল এই লোকটা, মাইকেল ফ্যাসবেন্ডার।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, তুমি ওটাকে এক কাজ করবে, তুমি ওটাকে ড্রাইভে আপলোড করবে,
আচ্ছা,
করে তারপর
ওটা কিন্তু টরেন্টের লিংক, হ্যাঁ ওই মানে সেটার জন্য ধরুন আপনার ইউটরেন্ট লাগবে, তারপরে সেখানে গিয়ে ওই
আমি তা
কি
বলছি না,
বলে।
তুমি ওটা ডাউনলোড করোনি ওটা?
হ্যাঁ করেছি তো,
ডাউনলোড করছো আবার মিউট্রান্ট লাগবে না?
ইউটরেন্ট দিয়ে ডাউনলোড করেছি।
হ্যাঁ, তো ডাউনলোড করার পর তো সেটা একটা ইয়ে ফাইল রয়েছে।
ও তো সেই ফাইলটা আমি যদি মানে ইয়ে করি, পোস্ট করি, তার জন্য তো আমারও নেট লাগবে না সেম আমার?
তোমার নেট
তো
লাগবে।
1 GB। হ্যাঁ আমি পাবো কোথায়, ওয়াইফাই নেই আমার। 1 GB সিনেমা স্যার।
তুমি তাহলে একটা কাজ করো, তুমি আমাকে একটা পেন ড্রাইভ করে দিয়ে দিও।
সিনেমাটা
হুম।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে।
আমি ড্রাইভে আপলোড করে দেবো, সবাইকে দিয়ে দেবো।
হুম হুম হুম। আর ওই ফ্র্যাঙ্কেনস্টাইনের ওইটা ইয়েতেই আছে, ইউটিউবেই আছে, গ্লোবাল থিয়েটার বলে সার্চ করলেই পেয়ে যাবে। খুব ভালো ওটা।
এটা দেখা হয়নি। নেটফ্লিক্স আমার দেখতে গেলে ফোনে দেখতে হবে, আমি ফোনে দেখতে চাই।
কম্পিউটারে নিয়ে নেন পাসওয়ার্ড দিয়ে, একই
হয় না,
চলবে।
ওটার আলাদা আলাদা ইয়ে হয়, মানে ফোনের।
মানে আপনি শুধু ফোন ভার্সনটা কিনেছেন তাই তো?
ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে, নাও পরের কবিতাটা পড়ি। আচ্ছা এটা দেখো, দ্য চিমনি সুইপার। Actually, there are two chimney sweepers. Okay, the chimney sweeper poems actually. The first one is in the Songs of Innocence, and the second one is in the Songs of Experience. প্রথমটা ইনোসেন্স এর মধ্যে রয়েছে, দ্বিতীয়টা সংস অফ এক্সপিরিয়েন্স এর মধ্যে। এবার বেসিক্যালি বুঝতেই পারছো যে সংস অফ ইনোসেন্স এর ক্ষেত্রে কিন্তু মানে ওরিয়েন্টেশন গুলো ডিফারেন্ট আর কি। Say for example, whenever you will deal with the songs of innocence, that is the chimney sweeper, you will find that something positive has been incorporated. যদিও তার মধ্যেও কিন্তু অনেক রকম প্রবলেম রয়েছে, এবং ব্লেক কিন্তু সব জায়গাতেই সেই রকম একটা বেসিক ওরিয়েন্টেশন নিয়ে কিন্তু কাজ করছে, মানে উনি সেই প্রশ্নগুলো চিহ্নগুলো কিন্তু এর মধ্যেও হিন্টস গুলো প্রোভাইড করে দেওয়া আছে। এর মধ্যেও কিছু মরালিটি আছে, এর মধ্যেও কিছু প্যাথেটিক নোশনস রয়েছে। অ্যাকচুয়ালি তোমাদের আগেও এটা আমি বলেছি যে এখানে কিন্তু ইন্ডাস্ট্রিয়ালাইজেশনের ওরিয়েন্টেশন আছে। The laborers were poor and they were often without work due to their ill health. This poverty compelled actually many a father to sell his children to master sweeps, মানে যারা কি ওই দলপতি বলতে পারো, who actually employed these children on poor payment. In those days, it was not an extraordinary sight to see the children weeping the soot of the chimneys even when fire was burning below in the fireplace. So it was these inhuman atrocities that actually led Blake to write this poem. Chimney sweepers. চিমনি সুইপার্স কারা জানো তো? আমি একটু বলি ব্যাপারটা নিয়ে। আগেকার দিনে তুমি দেখবে যে সমস্ত কোল্ডার কান্ট্রিজ গুলো রয়েছে, সেই কান্ট্রিজ গুলোতে সেখানে চিমনিজ থাকতো, মানে যে ফায়ার প্লেসটা রয়েছে ঘরের মধ্যে, সেই ফায়ার প্লেসের উপরে না বড় বড় চিমনি থাকতো, কিন্তু চিমনি গুলো একদম বাড়ির বাইরে গিয়ে বেরোচ্ছে। এবার যখন ওখানে ফায়ার বার্ন হতো তখন সেইগুলো থেকে যে কার্বন সুটস গুলো উঠতো সেইগুলো চিমনির ভেতরগুলোতে পুরোপুরি আটকে যেত, এবং সেইগুলো ওই যে কার্বন কণাগুলো সেগুলো একটার সঙ্গে একটা জমে জমে একটা তোমার ওখান থেকে আবার নতুন করে আগুন ধরে যাওয়ার চান্স থাকতো। যে কারণে টাইম টু টাইম ওই পার্ট গুলোকে চিমনিগুলো সুইপ করার খুব প্রয়োজন হতো। এই চিমনি সুইপ করার জন্য তোমার সব থেকে ফেভারেবল ছিল হচ্ছে ছোট ছোট বাচ্চাগুলো, কারণ ওই চিমনিগুলোর মধ্য দিয়ে ঢুকতে হতো ওদের, বড় চেহারা কেউ ওখানে ঢুকতে পারতো। যে কারণে লন্ডনে এই সময়টাতে চিমনি সুইপার্স হিসেবে বাচ্চারা ঘুরছে, এটা খুব কমন। মানে এই প্রসঙ্গে খুব ভালোভাবে লেখা রয়েছে, তোমরা পড়তে পারো। সেটা হচ্ছে যে চার্লস ল্যাম্বের যে এসেজ অফ ইলাইয়া হচ্ছে মানে ইলিয়া হচ্ছে চার্লস ল্যাম্বের একটি সিউডোনিম বা পেন নেম। এবার সেই এসেজ অফ ইলাইয়ার মধ্যে একটা পার্টিকুলার এসে আছে, সেটার নাম হচ্ছে ইন প্রেইজ অফ দ্য চিমনি সুইপার্স। I repeat, in praise of the chimney sweepers. There you will find that Charles Lamb is actually writing about them. Who are those chimney sweepers? Why are they doing in this particular way? What is actually happening to them? তো যাই হোক না কেন, এই চিমনি সুইপারদের নিয়ে দুখানা কবিতা এখানে সাইড বাই সাইড লেখা হয়েছে। The first one is in the Songs of Innocence and the second one is in the Songs of Experience. Today I will take this one, that is the first one, that is in Songs of Innocence. Here you will find some humanitarian notes have been incorporated. The living conditions of the chimney sweepers, their dreams, what they dream about, their utter nakedness, the kind of morality that it preaches, and at the same time the typical note of pathos that William Blake is incorporating to describe the life story of the chimney sweepers. Now what happens here, it begins in this particular fashion. As you can see here, it is written, when my mother died, I was very young. As I've already mentioned, that these are the personages who have been sold by their relatives or by their acquainted people. Okay, basically the children who were orphans. Okay, and here it has been pointed out that when my mother died, I was very young, and my father sold me, while yet my tongue could scarcely cry, weep, 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 weep. So ultimately, why that particular kind of term has been incorporated, the terms like weep, 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 because this can relate us or relate these children to the chirping of the birds, as if like peep, peep. So here you will find that somehow the chimney sweeper is the speaker, the innocent child is the speaker, and the child is actually prefiguring, the child is actually describing his own life story. He says, therefore, my mother died when I was very young, and my father sold me, while yet my tongue could scarcely cry, weep, 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 weep. So that was the situation. So much, of a young age he was. And then she says, so your chimneys I sweep, and in soot, that means the carbons actually, in soot I sleep. So that was, in a nutshell, the kind of, the structure that have been provided. Okay? So that's why it was the despairing note, it was the pathetic notion, it was the pathetic, livelihood that they are leading. Then one particular character has been incorporated here. It says, there is little Tom Decker. Don't try to find any autobiographical reference here. Blake is not using any particular reference to any particular character. Rather, it is an assumed name. And this assumed name is referring to, one of the chimney sweepers. So therefore, it says, there is little Tom Decker who cried when his head that curled like a lamb's back. So you see, the head, that means the hairs actually, that curled like lamb's back. So you can identify again, Blake is creating a kind of association between the curly hairs of Tom Decker and, the curled, lamb's back. So that's why it says, there is little Tom Decker who cried when his head that curled like a lamb's back was shaved. Why they were shaved? Actually, what happens, that whenever the chimney sweepers entered into the chimneys, if there were, the curly hairs or something, it could prevent them from washing or maybe cleaning the chimneys well. So it creates some kind of impediment. So therefore, they were shaven, clean shaven. So there is little Tom Decker who cried when his head that curled like a lamb's back was shaved. So he begins to weep actually. So I said, hush Tom, never mind it. For when your head is bare, you know that the soot cannot spoil your white hair. So ultimately think about something positive. That is the basic impetus and this is the basic orientation, that is between Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience. What happened, that whenever there is a kind of a negative aspect is being incorporated, something, some kind of pathetic notions have been incorporated, you will find, that when it is the matter with Songs of Innocence, everywhere something positive has been incorporated. Now, obviously, I am not stating that when it says that never mind, for when your head is bare, you know that the soot cannot spoil your white hair. This is actually indicating something good. Because to some extent, it becomes a kind of a tool. Okay, though a child is trying to some extent, console the other child regarding the kind of loss that he is facing. But at the same time, you will find that these are creating illusions. I am not stating that the figure, like the other child or the speaker of this particular poem, he is sharing the common notions of the grown-up people. Rather, they were used in different ways, but somehow they were trying to prevent their despairing note by considering about something beneficial, by considering about something positive. Though you can find that behind that positivity, there lies the typical ill or evil intentions of the grown-up people, of the grown-up society, or maybe the society of the grown-ups. Why? Because this will indicate a kind of exploitation. This will indicate a kind of, a different kind of subjugation and exploitation that have been associated. So therefore it says, because it says things always in terms of positive, in terms of the benefits, he says, therefore the speaker says, the child says, hush Tom, never mind it. For when your head is bare, you know that the soot cannot spoil your white hair. And so he was quiet. And that very night, as Tom was sleeping, he had such a sight. So again, it is the reference of the dream. So it is the dream of the chimney sweepers. What was the dream? In the dream, this dream is obviously very much significant. It says, And so he was quiet at the time, being consoled. And that very night, as Tom was sleeping, he had such a sight in the formation of the dream. In the dream, he saw that thousands of sweepers, just like Tom Decker, Dick, Joe, Ned, and Jack, were all of them locked up in coffins of black. Now, what does it mean? It is symbolic, as I've already mentioned, that whenever we will read William Blake, we will find there are some, positive orientations of symbolism. Because Blake is always being considered as the symbolist, the symbolic representations of some, images and something, is always working in terms of something, extra. Say, for example, coffins of black. What does it mean? Now, as we have already traced, that there are some negative intentions of the grown-up people being intended or being referred, though not in a direct way, but in an oblique way. So the coffins of black can obviously represent, they have been locked up in coffins of black. So these are actually indicating the various kinds of obligations, rules and regulations, religion, everywhere you see, that actually locked up them. It is the society. It is the financial obligations. It was the societal and obviously relational obligations that they were actually facing. The coffins of black actually refers to that particular, container with the help of which the society actually exploits them. So therefore, in the formation of the dream, something positive has been incorporated. What says? There is Dick, Joe, Ned, and Jack, were all of them locked up in coffins of black. And thereby came an angel who had a bright key. And he opened the coffins and set them all free. So now, as I've already mentioned, it is a songs of innocence. It's a song of innocence that you're reading. And ultimately, you will find that always it posits, always it shows something positive. Though you can find, though it has been stated that you were in midst of the dark black coffin, though it has been stated that you are completely being subjugated, being exploited by the grown-ups of the society, by the structures of the society, but in your dream, you can see something positive. Okay? It is a different matter whether this will happen or not. But ultimately, in the formation of the dream, you will find that the angel comes with the bright key. And with that particular bright key, he opened the coffins and set them all free. Then down a green plain. So these are all dreams, remember. These are not happening in actuality. And as it is the song of innocence, so therefore you will find some positive resources have been incorporated. And therefore some positive vibes have been created. So the down a green plain, leaping, laughing, they run and wash in a river, washing their suits actually, and shine in the sun. So that was the originality, their original self. I don't know whether these are indicating towards a death or something like that. That means after the death, they are reaching heaven, and in heaven, they are in close proximity with God. Is it referring to the green plain? Is it referring to the Garden of Eden? Is it referring to the kind of heavenly abode where they are completely free from these societal obligations and societal exploitations? These are not being directly incorporated. These are not directly being referred to. But ultimately, we can identify that in the form of the dream, they are actually seeking freedom. And as the dream is projecting something positive, so therefore, you will find that the freedom is being incorporated here. So then it says, then naked and white. So now the suits have been made clear. If the suit is related with the societal obligations and principles and different kinds of exploitations and subjugations, ultimately you will find that the typical formation of nakedness, it actually keeps the persons free from this, clutch of the society. And the suit has been transferred because, the washing has been completed. And here, the naked and white, this particular state is referring to when they are completely being cleansed. So if we attach the particular orientation of death and then the life after death, is it something referring to that when you are dead, when you will be completely free from the material grasps, when you are completely free from the societal obligations, then ultimately this utter form of nakedness can provide you the essential freedom. And ultimately, it is something that is related in terms of the typical formation of whiteness. So therefore it says, then naked and white, all their bags left behind. Okay, they rise upon clouds and sport in the wind. Again, these are all, as I've already mentioned, that this is nothing but the dream, and the dream actually gives you some positive impetus. Okay, well, that is actually happening. At the last stanza, we will find that with believing on that particular dream, considering that, okay, my life is good, my life is going to be good, and here you will find that religion is being incorporated because the angel is there, Christianity is there, and it always shows you, it always tells you what you have to do. It says, therefore, that whenever you are on earth, ultimately you have to suffer. Why? Because with the particular formation of suffering, okay, and ultimately you have to think of the life hereafter. So suffer in this world, and you will be completely being cleansed, and in your next world, after this life, you will be in happy union with God. That was the basic orientation that the religion actually propounds. And with the people who are a bit knowledgeable, we know very well, ultimately, religion has always become a tool of exploitation, of exploiting others. With the help of exploiting others, there are some personages, some powerful personages within the periphery of religion who actually enjoy the power, enjoy the freedom, okay, by curtailing the freedom from others' lives. But as it is a kind of a dream that they are seeing, they are watching here, and the angel told Tom, if he would be a good boy, he would have God for his father and never want joy. So that is the thing, you see. In the dream also, there is a particular kind of a resurgence. There is a particular kind of an orientation being provided by the angel, who is nothing but a kind of figure, a kind of instrument, a kind of agent who is actually propounding and following the rules and regulations and obligatory principles of religion, and then stating others that you have to be like a good boy in this particular life, you have to be dumb, you have to follow the societal orders, you have to follow the societal decorums, and if you follow them blindly, and ultimately you will find your positive impetus in the life hereafter. So that was the thing, that here you will find that angel is telling Tom. So therefore it says, and the angel told Tom, if he would be a good boy, he would have God for his father, okay, and never want any joy anymore, because there will be the life of joyousness. And so Tom awakes. So you see, the dream is a matter of illusion. The dream is something that has been created. The dream is something that actually leads you towards, doing something. And therefore, when Tom awoke, and we rose in the dark and got with our bags and our brushes to work. So following that particular illusion, just believing on that particular dream, we get ourselves prepared in the next day, in the next morning, in the next dawn actually, and taking the bags and taking the brush, we come towards our work. Though the morning was cold, but Tom was happy and warm. So if all do their duty, they need not fear harm. So ultimately, as it is the matter with songs of innocence, so therefore you will find it is actually indicating something positive. The positive vibration, the positive vibes, the positive reinforcement has been provided, and ultimately it has been provided, it has been given you the basic impetus that if you follow your duty, if you do your duty, then you need not fear any harm. Okay? The other orientations, whether these are possible or not, these are telling us something different, and the way it is not to be considered as a simple moral, rather it is actually making it clear that somehow how the patterns of exploitations have been done by the society. This will not be discussed in detail here in Songs of Innocence, because if it would be in the Songs of Experience, then you will find probably that how society is exploiting them, because as the children are, to some extent, they are representing innocent self, so it is not possible for them to identify what is happening there. But we, the grown-up leaders, we are not the people of innocence. We are the grown-up leaders, and we have gathered some experience from our life. We know everything in the ways in which the people have been exploited by others. So therefore, we can identify what is happening there. Okay. So ultimately, the typical formation of illusion in the form of a dream, the typical, the morality that have been preached by the society, by their self accord actually. So in this particular way, they consider themselves suitable for this particular work, and by taking the dream seriously, by following the dream seriously, they consider themselves as worthy enough to enjoy this particular deed. Because if you do your duty in this particular life, they need not fear any harm. There is nothing harmful that can create any harm to them. So that was the fundamental basics of this particular poem. Have you understood them? বোঝা গেছে?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
Hope you have enjoyed the two poems.
স্যার এখানে এঞ্জেল তাহলে ঠিক কাকে বোঝাচ্ছে, ক্রিশ্চিয়ানিটিকে?
হ্যাঁ, ক্রিশ্চিয়ান এঞ্জেলস অবভিয়াসলি, যাদের কথা বলছি এঞ্জেলস এরকম ভাবে। দেখো, আমি তোমাদেরকে বেসিক্যালি এক্সপেরিয়েন্সড সেলফের পার্সপেক্টিভ থেকে আমরা বলছি, কিন্তু তুমি যদি ইনোসেন্টের প্রেক্ষিতে বলো তাহলে
উল্টো স্যার, এখানে সবই মেনে নিল, মানে কোনো প্রতিবাদ নেই, কিছু নেই, সবই মেনে নিল, স্বপ্ন বলে
ওরা তো ইনোসেন্ট না।
কেমন কেমন যেন।
তাহলে তুমি ইনোসেন্টটাকে কিভাবে দেখবে, পজিটিভ ভাবে না নেগেটিভ ভাবে? মানে এরকম ভাবে, এখানে বাচ্চারা তো বোঝে না, ওদেরকে দিয়ে খাটানো হচ্ছে, ওদেরকে দিয়ে কাজ করানো হচ্ছে।
সেটা, এটা নেগেটিভ, মানে আমার ক্ষেত্রে এটা কেমন, মানে কেমন যেন। এটা যদি এক্সপেরিয়েন্স হতো তাহলে হয়তো তারা সাপোর্ট করতো না ব্যাপারটাকে, কিন্তু তারা সবকিছু মেনে নিল যে যেমন তেমন।
তাহলে সবসময় কি ইনোসেন্স ভালো?
না, সেটা তো ভালো না।
হ্যাঁ, ইনোসেন্টদেরকেও অনেক রকম ভাবে এক্সপ্লয়েট করা হয়, অন্যরকম ভাবে। ব্লেক কিন্তু সবসময় এই ধরনের অন্যরকম ভাবে ব্যাপারগুলোকে দেখিয়েছে, বুঝতে পেরেছো?
হ্যাঁ, ইনোসেন্সটা পুরোপুরি আলাদা। মানে আমরা আগেও যে পোয়েম গুলো পড়েছি সেখানেও তো মানে অনেক কিছু প্রতিবাদ দেখিয়েছিল, এখানে তো সবই মেনে নিল শেষমেশ।
আমাদের কি ব্লেকের আর একটা কবিতা বাকি থাকলো তো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
চিমনি সুইপার ফ্রম সংস অফ এক্সপেরিয়েন্স, রাইট?
সংস অফ এক্সপেরিয়েন্স নেই স্যার আমাদের।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ওটা আমাদের নেই, আমাদের ইনোসেন্সটাই আছে শুধু।
তোমাদের আর কি কবিতা বাকি আছে তাহলে ব্লেকের?
ব্লেকের শুধু চিমনি সুইপারটাই আছে।
না, চিমনি সুইপার আছে, ঠিক আছে, আমি শুধু পড়ালাম, বলছি এক্সপেরিয়েন্স আর চিমনি সুইপারটা নেই।
না, হ্যাঁ ওইটা আছে, ওইটা আছে।
না, তোমাদের চিমনি সুইপার দুটো থেকেই তো আছে নাকি?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, দুটোই আছে, দুটোই আছে।
এক্সপেরিয়েন্সটা আছে।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, দুটোই আছে।
ওটা একদম ছোট কবিতা অ্যাকচুয়ালি, চিমনি সুইপারটা।
স্যার তাহলে আপনি ওখানে যেটা বলছিলেন কফিনস অফ ব্ল্যাক, তাহলে ওটা তো মানে ভেরিয়াস কাইন্ডস অফ রুলস, রেগুলেশনস, ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল প্রবলেমস ওগুলোই বলতে হবে।
কি বলছো?
ওই যে কফিনস অফ ব্ল্যাক বলতে ওই সোসাইটির যে পার্সপেক্টিভ গুলো আছে, রিপ্রেজেন্ট ভেরিয়াস কাইন্ডস অফ রুলস, রেগুলেশনস, ওইগুলো বোঝাচ্ছে।
হ্যাঁ, এগুলো যদি তার এক্সপ্লয়টেশনস গুলো হয় আর কি।
ওকে।
ঠিক আছে, কালকে পরের দিন প্রথমে এটা একটু পড়ে নেবো, এটা মিনিট 20 লাগবে, 20-25 মিনিট হয়তো। তারপরে আমরা হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে ইন্ট্রোডাকশনটা দেবো আর কি। ঠিক আছে, এটা দেখো কত লাইন, 12 লাইনের কবিতা।
হ্যাঁ, ছোট একদম।
ঠিক আছে, এই অবধি থাক তাহলে আর কি। তোমাদের বাকিদেরকে আমি একটু দেখতে চাই কি ঘটনা তাদের, তাহলে স্পষ্ট করে বলো কি হয়েছে।